As we begin the holiest of weeks, the church, who's been doing this, for centuries, has us, close in our focus now on this greatest event in history. For our faith is built on an actual fact, historical fact of history. Jesus Christ did exist. He did suffer and die. He did rise from the dead. That's a fact of history. It's not a pious belief. Those who ever say that's your belief, actually, no, Jesus Christ existed. We don't even need the Gospels to tell us that he existed. He was crucified by Pontius Pilate. You can look at the Romans and the Jewish historians. They had no reason to make it up. And we see all those early Christians that laid down their lives for this truth. He rose from the dead. All these cowardly apostles who ran away from the cross, except for one, the youngest. And so for us this week, how do we make this week holy? Of course, we've been preparing during this season of Lent, all with God's grace. It's not me, right? It's God. I'm cooperating with his grace and my penances, my prayers, my works of mercy. But this week we ponder the different individuals that are part of this whole event. So it might be Peter. He says he's going to, Lord, I'm going to die for you. You're going to deny me 3 times. And sure enough, he does. The first pope denies our Lord 3 times. But isn't Peter, for every one of us, a great image of hope? Because he doesn't give up like Judas. Judas goes and hangs himself. He gives up. Peter doesn't give up. Even though he falls flat on his face, we're told that actually, traditionally, he had furrows in his cheeks, and the tears that he shed. We're just told here that he goes out and weeps. And the next line is what? In the morning. Okay, is he weeping all night? I mean, these are things we can consider. But he's going to go back to our Blessed Mother like all the others on Holy Saturday. She was a pillar of faith, right? But he's going to die for our Lord, crucified upside down in Rome in 64 AD by Emperor Nero. So, we can ponder, be there with Peter. Or maybe with our Blessed Mother, she's watching all this unfold. Perhaps it's, Simon of Cyrene helping our Lord. Maybe it's Veronica wiping his face. The various women, Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James, and Joseph, and then, and of course, the mother of the sons of Zebedee, James and John. It's interesting, the mother of James and John is there at the foot of the cross. She's there. Her son James is not. Her son John is, right? So all these different persons we can actually, kind of align ourselves with and be close to, and just kind of put ourselves right there in the midst. And what does the church do? She does put us there. By the miracle of the sacraments of the church and liturgy of the church, we're not a Christian religion that just kind of says, well, we're remembering what our Lord did. We do that, but it's the actual event. At every Mass, it's the same Jesus Christ offering himself to God the Father, just like he did the Last Supper, just like he did on the cross. Is he suffering or dying? Well, no, he's not. He's in his glorified state. He can't suffer or die anymore. Okay? So this coming week with the liturgy of the church, we get into a season that's only 3 days long. It's the most important season of the year, Easter Triduum. So Lent ends on Holy Thursday. It's like, oh, I can give up on my penances then? No, you can't. You got to dial it in another notch. Easter Triduum, 3 days, Triduum. Begins with Holy Thursday evening, Mass of the Last Supper. Okay. When our Lord is instituting the Eucharist, also instituting the priesthood. Do this in memory of me. He gave the apostles the ability to offer the Mass and offer all the sacraments, and that's been passed on down through the bishops to us. Right, so Holy Thursday night, it's Mass. That's what we have. Right? Far be it, heaven forbid, we're falling asleep, spiritually, right? Where this whole week we just kind of go through, well, we're going to go on vacation, we're going to go do this, that, the other. Sorry if I always got a lot of things to do. 12 to 3 on Good Friday. We'll see what we can do. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. The most important hours in history, Jesus Christ on the cross for you and me. Right? So those 3 hours should be silent. Right? They should be silent. Granted, those of us who are older had a little advantage. We didn't have all the technology that we do now, that we can get addicted to. Shut it off. Shut it off. All right? Just be quiet. Come to the church. We got stations at noon, rosary at 1, Chapel of Divine Mercy at 2, 3 o'clock, the Passion Narrative. It's the only day of the year. Of course, it is a fast day, right, for all of us 18 to 59. One main meal, 2 smaller meals. It's a day of absence, no meat that day. But it's the one day of the year we can't have Mass. I mention this often, I think. It's the one day, if I say Mass on Good Friday, if a priest says Mass on Good Friday, he commits a mortal sin. What? Yes. Why? That's the authority our Lord gave to the church. Matthew 16 to Peter, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. Matthew 18 to all the bishops, the apostles. Same words, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. Oh, we're bound that day, because that's the day our Lord gave us his sacrifice. Therefore, the church says, as a good mother, she says, no, you're not going to be able to have it that day. So you appreciate it, okay? But if we just show up today and then we just don't show up again until next Sunday, we're going to miss it. Really not going to have the sense of, really what's taking place. So if we can put ourselves, if we can be here Holy Thursday night, adoration till midnight, okay? All the different churches you can go to and visit that are open, much like, trying to keep that time with our Lord. The apostles fell asleep, okay? And then you got Good Friday, and then Easter, Holy Saturday is, Easter Vigil is a quiet day traditionally, right? And then we got the great Mass of all Masses is the Easter Vigil. If you've never been to it, it's just tremendous. It is long, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, okay? But it's the Mass of the year, okay? Just beautiful. All those who've been preparing to come into the faith, receive the sacraments, they're going to be receiving those sacraments. And of course,